Today, I want to talk about mastering the game of business. Now, I'm in the life insurance business, so many of the illustrations I'm going to use and reference points will revolve around the life insurance industry. However, if you are a business owner, I do feel that the general theme of this video applies to everyone, so hopefully you get some value out of it. Let's have some fun. What I want to start with when it comes to mastering the game of business is relating it to sports. I'm a big sports fan. In particular, when it comes to football, I like Ray Lewis and Tom Brady, both A-plus players, right? Can't really argue otherwise. A couple years back, Ray Lewis was talking about Tom Brady. It was after Ray Lewis had retired. It was about a playoff game coming up with the New England Patriots versus the Tennessee Titans at the time. And somebody on the Titans said, we want to make Tom Brady look like a third-rated quarterback. He used another quarterback's name, but I'm not going to do that. So Ray Lewis hears that, and he was asked, what are your thoughts? First he chuckles. He said, I don't really have any problems with what the guy said, but if you're going to make a comment like that about this guy, you better be ready. Because a guy like Tom Brady is a master chess player when it comes to the game of football. He knows how to read defenses. And when you're going up against him, if you're a young guy in your prime, very athletic, you're very, very talented, the key difference and why a lot of people lost to Tom Brady is people would rely on their talent, their natural athleticism, and Tom Brady's at home clicking. When I say clicking, he's watching film. Ray said, if you're a young guy, you're getting ready to play Tom Brady, if you're watching film for 1 hour and Tom Brady's clicking for 5, you're not going to win that battle. And that's the kind of stuff he would do non-stop through the later years of his career. He's still going. How does he do that? He's got that discipline, that drive to keep going. The thing about Ray, what he would say, is the only way he could beat Tom Brady, he mentioned Peyton Manning in this conversation as well, the only way he could beat those two guys if he would sit down and do the boring work. It takes a lot of time to study those guys and figure out how to beat them. Specifically, he'd watch film, study, took a ton of time. A lot of time that a lot of players and people, if we go back to the game of business, don't want to invest. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Think about this before I get into the examples I have here. Think of a professional that you know. Maybe they're an attorney, maybe they're a financial advisor, maybe they're a car salesman. Think of the absolute best in their respective trade, whatever it is that they do. That's the best person you know, or they're known nationwide, maybe in your area, they're the best. Why are they known as the best? Well, they know their product. They know their service inside and out. In order to get an answer to a question, you can do research, which might take you hours to get the right answer, or you can ask them and they know right off the top of their head, they can provide that answer to you in 5 seconds. So they've taken in all of that knowledge over time. So they're extremely knowledgeable. But then number two, they can communicate it extremely effectively. They can articulate a very complex message to you in plain English, again in 5 seconds. Maybe it takes a little bit longer than 5 seconds. But they are the go-to source. They're your person. That's the person you want to do business with. That's the person you want to hire. You want them on your side because they are a master of the game. So when you have that person in mind, think, if you're in business or sales, how do you get to that level? That's the key there. That's how you can elevate your game and start to become a master. It takes quite some time to get to that level though. So we've got in blue sales, competition. Most salespeople know who their competition is. Typically, they can name their top 3 competitors before they can name their top 3 clients. This happens a lot. My advice here would be to have a laser focus on your consumers, not on your competition. It'll help you grow so much here. But I'm going to give you a story here, and we're going to use some technical terminology with a company called Guardian and their paid up additions rider, which is a nice way to accelerate the cash value in a whole life insurance policy. This was several years ago. I think this was 2018, may have been early 2019. I'm working with a prospect, someone who is interested in a high cash value life insurance policy. We're looking at Guardian. He had been working with a competitor, and he still was speaking with a competitor. He was speaking with a competitor and me at the same time, not the exact same time, different occasions, but over phone calls, Zoom calls, he was interested in a high cash value policy. Now, one of the reasons he was interested in Guardian is due to their PUA limit and their flexibility. Guardian's a company, when it comes to their PUA rider, you can throw it into the policy anytime you want. And as long as a 1-year term rider is attached, you can pay 10 times your base premium in PUAs annually. No problem, you can just pour the money in. So I've had that conversation with him. We've had people that have been doing that forever. He speaks with a competitor. The competitor was experienced, more experienced than me. He pulls that illustration out, points to, I think it was page 3 to the prospect, and he says, look at this. On the illustration, in bold, it reads, the maximum PUA payment, aside from the first year, so beginning year 2, is only 3 times the base premium in PUAs, and I have told him 10 times the base premium in PUAs. So I told him one thing, but he sees in writing on the insurance company's life insurance illustration that he can only do 3x. If you were him, who would you believe? If I was him, who would I believe? The illustration is from the company, not some guy who just wants the sale. Now, I knew 10x was possible because people have been doing it forever. I'd spoken with Guardian several times at that point in my career, but that individual decided not to move forward with me. He moved forward with the other guy. And we encountered that problem several times after the fact as well. So, what do you do in that situation? Competitive situation, competitor found out how to beat us and then kept on going back to that same play, right? He's got the pass over the middle. To use this example, how do I study film in order to make sure that we don't run into this issue anymore? Well, without getting into all the details, I hit on a couple bullet points here. First bullet point, we knew that policyholders could pay 10x the base premium. They've been doing it. So in the full contract language, which is the contract is over 100 pages long, a lot of fine print, great material to read if you want to fall asleep. But in something like page 70 or 80, you see the section with the 1-year term rider, and where it reads, if a 1-year term rider is attached, Guardian will permit you to add PUAs that exceed the standard PUA limits. So they will allow you just to pour money into the policy. So that's one section where we kind of see, okay, you can exceed 3x the base premium, but they did not put 10x the base premium in that particular section. However, other memos, other PUA rider manuals existed that stated the clean 10x, meaning I can pay 10x the base premium PUAs if this rider is attached. If it's not, or if I remove it, then it's 3x the base premium PUAs. Very easy stuff to follow, right? That leads into my next point. What we did first was gather all of that material, organized it in a very neat fashion. But even with that, I can't send that to someone and say, see here, you can pay 10x the base premium PUAs, and then we're gonna beat the competition all the time. No. What we had to do was create video content that walks people through it in the same manner we would over a Zoom call. So we've got the literature from the company, the formal memos that say you can do this, and then a video where we're explaining it to them with visuals. At that point, people saw it and said, I get it. 10-minute video. Took, I don't know how many hours upon hours. It took days really just collecting the data, reshooting the video several times. But we had to sit down, put the time in, do the boring work. Who wants to do that? But the purpose to that was to collect all of the data, put a video together. Now, whenever that question comes up again, especially if we have a new agent, that video solves the problem, that particular problem. But how do we become a master at the game? I keep saying we because it's our entire office. It is not just me, and I can't do it on my own. So, a couple things here. What do we have? Let's just touch on one of them. This is a sensitive subject to many. Whole life is a ripoff. Whole life is a scam. It's safe to say that agents that sell whole life insurance and Dave Ramsey typically don't like each other. And both sides can come off as arrogant at times. Not to say they are arrogant, but they come off as arrogant, meaning particular agents and also Dave Ramsey, just how they debate with each other, term life insurance, whole life insurance. And that's an example that a lot of people will resonate with. They'll say, yeah, I get that. So if you're an agent and someone said, the product, let's say you're an agent working with a potential client, and I'm a financial advisor that does not like whole life insurance, and I tell your potential client that the product that agent is selling you, talking about you, he's ripping you off. It's a scam. Whole life insurance, not a good area to position money. It's not gonna work like you think it's gonna work. A lot of information out there, a lot of negativity around whole life insurance. At that moment, when you hear that from your potential prospect, how do you feel? What do? Are you calm or do you get defensive? Sometimes emotions get involved and we do things we thought we would never do. And then you go back and say, why did I do that? That happens to all of us, but use it as a building block. But when you're in that moment, what do you do here? Well, there's really two routes you can go. Always try and just look at it in a systematic fashion. Option A, respond with words. Someone tells you, I heard whole life insurance is a ripoff or a scam. I can respond with these words. Well, when you look at whole life and cash value life insurance, major banks, corporations, and the wealthy have been using it forever. If it was such a scam, why would they put their money in there? I personally would not be quick to go that route. The reason why is you're just doing what the person who said whole life insurance is a ripoff or scam, you're just doing what they're doing. And that will not be effective on everyone. Sometimes it will, but some people want to see the proof. I did, and boy, did I drive people nuts when I asked for that proof all the time. Didn't always get it, so I had to dig into it and get it myself. That's the key. So you can respond with words. Not a big fan of that. Or you can respond with real data. So in this particular case, whole life insurance is a ripoff or a scam. There's consumer reports out there that say that the cash value on whole life insurance policies produce on average a 1% to 2% internal rate of return, which is the net growth rate after the cost of insurance. It's on a consumer report, it's in writing, it must be true. Probably is true. It's probably a 100% base premium policy. So someone sees that, or perhaps your competition pulls that out. Maybe you're considering a policy and someone shows that to you. What goes through your mind? Like, do you have any proof? Okay, banks and corporations do that, that's great. I think that it works. Do you have any proof? That way I can tell my spouse with certainty, we're okay putting our money here. Think of it that way. How do you solidify it without being lazy and just trying to answer the question quickly with words? So, responding with real data. I talk about the 4 major mutual companies all the time. Actual performance. This is so important. With whole life insurance, looking at cash value performance. We've got the dividend rate, the projection on the illustration, and then you've got the net internal rate of return, which is your net growth rate at the end of the day. When showing an illustration, it's good to look at the current dividend values, conservative dividend values, guaranteed values, absolute worst case scenario, the things that when you show, you think that might turn a client off, show it to them anyway. Do not run the risk of you getting a sale and then they find out after the fact, hey, I didn't see this piece that you didn't show me. It's never worth any amount of money. Do not do it. But here, actual performance. So this part has been so much fun over the years, but I refer to it as boring work. So that's 4 to 5%. I'm trying to squeeze that in there. We've got historical studies. You can search this right in our YouTube channel. Just type in the word historical. You'll see policies from different time periods that have produced net internal rates of return of between 4 to 5%. Some have been a little bit stronger that are much, much older. But proof is in the pudding, proof of what these policies have actually done. Think of it this way. You're considering a high cash value life insurance policy. You see that. You're still going to be open to it? Probably not. You see this. How about now? Okay, there's proof of actual performance, not illustrations, but real data. We've got other points in here as well. My point here is whenever an objection comes up, taking the time to put everything together is so important. This stuff, finding the actual data, took so much time. Getting actual policies from life insurance companies is very difficult to do. A lot of times what we do to get a very old policy is we will connect with someone who's had a policy for a long time, request servicing rights, work for a long time to get that original sales illustration, which the company usually has, but you have to track it down and ask 18 times. And then year by year, look at the annual statements. What did the original illustration project? Then year over year, what the annual statement display in real cash value, the actual dividend received, the actual death benefit, what that's growing to over time, all of the real data. That's a lot of time. It also takes training to know what to look for and how to gather that kind of stuff. But my point is if you're trying to get to that next level in business, those are the kind of things really that it takes. When you look for someone who's really at that level, they do that. You know, some of the people I know that have been in business longer than I've been alive, I'm 33 at the time of shooting this video, like they still do this kind of stuff. They've got that inner drive, and I look at them and I'm like, how do you keep going like that? It's because they're not going to stop. They thoroughly enjoy it, and you just got the inner drive, call it that. Hopefully I still have that when I'm twice my age now. But at any point, I think you know what I mean. In order to master the game, you have to put the time in. And that's time in taking in the knowledge, and then also practicing communicating things effectively. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I thoroughly enjoy talking about this kind of stuff. I could go on and on. You know, this one was short, thankfully. I could talk about this for another hour. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more, and as always, I hope this helps. Thanks so much. Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.